Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Morning After Recap Show brought to you by IrishSportsDaily.com. I am Greg Flammang. Woke up this morning and it smelled like victory for Notre Dame, 23-13 over Texas A&M. Huge win. We're going to talk about that. We're going to give out some game balls on this show. It's a new thing we're bringing. I'm going to give my game balls out. I want to see who you want to give a game ball to in the chat. Let me know who your stars were, who you want to shout out, and we can do that. This is a very heavy chat show. I interact with people and we talk about, however you're feeling about the game, how I'm feeling about the game. We go over stats, we go over grades, anything else that people want to talk about. Thank you for tuning in. If you like what you hear today, please hit the like button. Please hit subscribe. Please hit the notification bell so whenever it is we are going live. Links to this podcast are in the description below. We've got about 8.2 thousand subscribers to this channel. We want to get to 10K. We want to get to 10K. Get us to 10K. Help us out if you haven't done so. Please subscribe to our channel so more people can check out our good content. And as always, this show is brought to you by ESQ Clothing. Game time is come and gone, and ESQ has finally restocked all of their bamboo dress shirts online. You've seen all your favorite bamboo dress shirts on your favorite players and coaches for Notre Dame, and they're made from proprietary fabric that's cooler and softer than cotton. It's the best shirt for any occasion. Go to esqclothing.com and use ISD15 to get 15% off your order. Got to shout out some super chats that have come in already. CFB Hertz says, shout out from the rooftops that Notre Dame went into SEC country against a team that prides itself on buying blue chip talent and physically wore them down. That is a prelude to one of the game balls I'm going to give out today. Physically wore them down. You probably know where I'm going to go with that. But yeah, Notre Dame was the stronger team at the end of the game. They did not wear down. They were not cramping up. So it was a very good night for Notre Dame on that front. Thank you to CFB Hertz for the super chat. Robert Halicki, my man, we've been chatting today already. Thank you guys for all you do, given everything going on at work. I don't get to watch much live, but I appreciate you guys. We appreciate you, Robert. You're always supporting the show, and you're always tuning in whenever you can, and we really, really appreciate that. He says, don't forget to like and subscribe. Only 60% of us are subscribed. So 60% of viewers on pretty much any given show, they're not subscribed, right? So subscribe to the channel. Join us, be with us. It's a great community we have over here, and that's fantastic. Paul Ginden is here. Thank you, Paul, for being here. Or Kinlan is here with us. A&M's quarterback was way jittery all game following that body-crushing sack by Howard Cross. He wasn't injured by it, but it hurt, made him play scared the rest of the game. The thing is, Paul, is Notre Dame makes opposing quarterbacks look not very good, right? They cause problems for every opposing quarterback that they face, whether it is Connor Wigman, whether it is whether it's Caleb Williams, right? Like if you can make Caleb Williams look bad, then you can make any quarterback look bad. And that's what Notre Dame was able to do last night. Interestingly enough, he was pressured. Am I still looking at Connor Wigman? I am. He was pressured on 33% of his dropbacks, right? So, or 33% of his passes, which is exactly the same that Riley Leonard was pressured on his. He was pressured on 33%. So was Connor Wigman. Connor Wigman, when pressured, two completions, 8 attempts, 19 yards, 2.4 yards per attempt. Here's the amazing thing, though, and this is what Al Golden can do, disguising coverages. We talked about this. Jamie and I talked about this a bunch when we were previewing the game, is that Notre Dame makes it hard for you with mixed coverages, with implied pressure, when you know they're bringing pressure and they have to get the ball out before before the pressure even gets there, right? You're always in a hurry. When he was kept clean, Connor Wigman, 10 of 22 for 81 yards, 3.7 yards per attempt, and 2 interceptions. PFF had him down for a 28.3 passing grade, or I'm sorry, 27.7 passing grade. When he was kept clean, they gave them problems even when they weren't getting pressure. That's the key, right? That is what Al Golden can do to an offense, and that was what he did last night. Um, when you look at the end of the game, I just tweeted it out, like the last play of the game. Notre Dame doesn't get pressure on Wigman on that play. They brought a zero blitz, but he got the play off as he got the ball out because he knew pressure was coming. Al Golden brings a zero blitz. Christian Gray sitting inside of the slant, jumps it perfectly, perfect technique. That's how you play it, and that's what Al Golden can do. So I thought that was an incredible performance by the defense. Al Golden trusting his guys, and like this is what you talk about recruiting, and you talk about what Notre Dame is able to bring in on the back end, right? You trust those guys on a 4th and 2 situation with the game on the line. Al Golden, he's bringing max pressure, zero blitz for him, no one in the back, right? And everyone's in man coverage with their eyes on the receivers, not looking at the quarterback. That is what recruiting allows you to do, is to play defense like that. So that's tremendous, and that's good stuff. Greg Wasserman, bringing in, yes, Landow had the team condition to play in the heat, and it was not prepared to play in their own conditions. Denbrock's last stand says Loren Landow and the strength team. You know what? I was going to roll it out later, but let's hand out one of our game balls. Game ball, Loren Landow. Listen, you bring him in. There were so many questions about, he was unknown, right? Not a lot of people knew about him. What they knew about him was hamstring injuries, and there were reports of injuries. He was let go by the Denver Broncos, came very highly recommended from Brady Quinn, right? And so that was a factor in the hiring, and people were excited about that. But he hadn't been with a football team in a couple of years. He was working privately, so people weren't really sure, what he was going to bring, right? And I think the built by Bayless culture, people were hanging on to that. So there was an open question about whether Loren Landow could prepare this team. They were the better prepared team physically. They just were. And it isn't to say that Texas A&M wasn't fit or anything like that. It's just when you look at Notre Dame and the way they were able to win this game, 13-13, about 6 minutes left on the clock, 6 minutes left on the clock at their own 15-yard line. They go 85 yards on 8 plays. You have a couple pass completions, third down to Jaden Greathouse, and then the back shoulder throw to Bo Collins. And then Notre Dame runs the ball from there into the end zone against that defensive line with the youth on the offensive line. They were stronger. They were better conditioned. They were ready to perform in the conditions more so than Texas A&M was. Like, Notre Dame wasn't cramping up. A&M was cramping up, right? This was a huge factor in the game that it was often discussed, was the weather and the heat, and Notre Dame was going to wilt in those conditions, and they did not. Huge performance from Loren Landow. You have to give them a ton of credit. You have to give Marcus Freeman a ton of credit. He got those guys ready to go. So that is a big time performance. Wanted to give out one of the game balls to Loren Landow there. Did a great job. Let's get to more of the viewer comments. Kenny Moore says, new era for Notre Dame. What I'll say is this is absolutely a chance for Marcus Freeman to turn the corner. It's year 3. The things that have happened in the past, and some of the tough losses, Ohio State, both times, right? Losing to Stanford, losing to Marshall. Like, Notre Dame is definitely feel very far removed from that. I'm wondering about people in the chat. I'm wondering if you felt going into this game that it was because I'll be honest, like, on my end, if Notre Dame didn't win this game, let's say that it's 13-13, they don't score on the drive, A&M goes down and scores, and they win the game, I would have started to seriously question, whether Marcus Freeman was going to be able to do this, right? I it's not a question of whether or not he's a good coach. I think he is a good coach, right? Their performances in the first 2 years, you go 9-4, then you go 10-3. You just don't go 10-3, right? Like, that's difficult to do. But I would have started to lose a good amount of faith And I was ready to openly question, like, can he actually do this? Is he someone that can take Notre Dame to the next level? You got to win games like this. You just have to. This was a big turning point game for me personally, just in how I felt about Marcus Freeman. His team was able to come through. I think Marcus Freeman knew. I think he knew this was a huge game for him. I mean, you see him in the tunnel before the game. I mean, look, obviously a lot of that is nervous energy, but he was not afraid to put it out there, to put himself out there and just signal to his team, hey, I am ready for this, and I need you to be ready for this as well. He was in it for the long haul, and the team was in it for the long haul. I thought he was I thought he was instrumental in getting them mentally prepared, and I thought that he came through in a big moment because his team came through in a big moment. If you're going to blame the coach for mistakes in key games and not having the team ready, then you absolutely have to give him credit for the way his team responded last night. Hostile environment, people picking against them, offensive line, youthful, made that call to go with those guys. Joe Rudolph gets a ton of credit for that as well, and we'll get to it. But it's very heartening for Notre Dame fans to see the team perform that way. Mark Youngman says, I would have been off the Freeman train if he had lost. Freeman took a huge step as a coach. Like, I think I agree, right? He did take a huge step. This is a very important win. This could be, now it's a chance now, is that that Clemson, the thing that Clemson got out of beating Notre Dame in 2015, this could be that. This could be that for the program. We have to see. There's a long way to go, right? And there's a lot of steps to take. Okay, look. If you listen to Jamie and I, we said, like, this isn't like the greatest Texas A&M team. It just isn't, right? And I don't want to pretend that they're a great team. Now, it would be nice if they went on a run of games and started winning some games, right? That would be nice and validate this win a little bit. But I think we all knew it was going to be a dogfight. It was going to be a drag out, knockout fight. And Notre Dame was able to get it done. So good job by Freeman. Good job by him. I think Kenny Moore says, I think we were all ready to question that. I hate to admit it, but I was during the game, and I love Coach Freeman. Yeah, another thing that we brought up last night is everyone wants Marcus Freeman to succeed. Everyone does. Everyone is a fan of his, right? Everyone is rooting for him, right? We want it to be him. Fans want it to be Marcus Freeman, but at some point you do have to question whether or not he can get the team over the hump. I think this went a long, long way into to doing that. So yeah, just to put a bow on that. There was a comment here, Joel Easton talking about Adon Schuler. How big was Adon, literally and figuratively? Listen, you wonder why a guy wins a job, right? And because Notre Dame brought in Rod Hurd, the expectation was he was going to be the starter next to Xavier Watts. And then as camp goes on, you start to hear that Adon Schuler, like, he is going to be the man in that spot. He is going to be the one to play next to Xavier Watts most often. And you wonder, like, what did he look like in order to make that happen, right? And it isn't to say that people, didn't want it or whatever the case may be. I don't think that was the deal. It's just, it's his first year. Like, he won the job over someone who had started a bunch of games at Northwestern. What does it look like? Adon Schuler in this game plays 60 of the available 73 snaps, a main fixture in this defense. By the way, Rod Hurd played 35, so they were able to get him about half the snaps. So he's playing a major role. So that is still a good, a good acquisition for Notre Dame. But Adon Schuler played with force, played with urgency, played with confidence. And not just that, he played competently, right? Like, he had the one missed tackle on the screen pass that didn't really amount to much. They were able to get the stop on Texas A&M, and A&M kicked a field goal. They were in field goal range anyway. But he was solid tackling, solid in coverage, had the interception. And the thing about that interception, too, is when you're in single high, he leaves the middle of the field like reading the quarterback's eyes. The quarterback took him to where the ball was going to go. He was in perfect position. He didn't have to be where he was, but he was able to make the break on the ball and be exactly where that ball was going to go. If the ball was, he sees it sailing, so he adjusts his angle on that. If the ball was on target, Adon Schuler is going to be there to make the hit. Right. So his positioning on that play, not just the fact that the ball sailed and he was able to intercept it, but his positioning, his eye read, that is what you want, right? That is what you want from your free safety. That is what you want from someone who's playing in their first game, trusting their eyes, trusting their instincts to go and make the play. Let's see. There was a question. Ryan asked, what was the snap breakdown of Hurd versus Clark versus Osbury Sneed? So let's go check that out. Rod Hurd played 35 snaps. Let's see. Jalen Sneed played 31. So about the same snap count there. Jaden Osbury played 17. So not as many snaps for him. Let me just see. Jordan Clark played a ton of snaps. I want to say it's 59, but I'm going to check anyway. Yes, 59 snaps for Jordan Clark. So he's main fixture in the defense. He played a ton, but all those guys played a good amount. And I think Jaden Osbury, 17 snaps doesn't seem like a lot, but he was very impactful when he was in the game. So look, Max Bullough said he was going to play 5, and he absolutely did. He played all of those guys, lived up to what he said he was going to do on that front. Let's get a question from Kenny Moore. Can we get your opinion on Christian Gray? Look, Christian Gray is what it looks like. Just straight up. He is what it looks like. He is going to be a star for Notre Dame. He will be an All-American. Not this year, but probably not this year, but the year after, right? He's just a sophomore. To be honest, I hope they get him to his senior year. I don't know that that's going to be the case. He's going to be a full-time starter this year, and he is going to be a national name next year. He's got the length. He plays with toughness. He plays with he has good ball skills. He's very aggressive attacking the ball. Very nearly a pick 6 to end the game there. The technique is perfect. The confidence is perfect. When you sit inside on a zero coverage like that, he's not pedaling out of there, afraid that someone's going to run by him. He had quiet feet, settling his feet. The receiver showed him slant, and he jumped the slant. He, for some reason, and look at this is great job scouting by Notre Dame. I think they knew that they were going to get slot fade outside slant on that route. Christian Gray played it perfectly, almost had a pick 6. He's everything you want. And I mean, these two corners, I think they're going to end up being better than the Cam Hart, Ben Morrison tandem. And I think it could go down as the best corner tandem in the, I don't know. I don't want to go too far back because I don't know what it was like in the 70s or whatever. I just think these two guys, these are 2 first-round picks playing together. When has Notre Dame had that? I mean, I guess Tom Carter was a first-round pick in 92, and Jeff Burris was a first-round pick. But Burris, he played corner in pros, but he was a free safety in college. I just think at the same time, these guys, these are 2 first-round picks. I mean, maybe Christian Gray doesn't run fast enough in the 40 or something. These are big time players. He is very, very good. You can just you're just not getting over on either. I mean, the length too. They both have long arms. They're what it looks like. They are what it looks like in the in the NFL. That's what you want. You want long guys. You want guys who can run. You want guys who can press. And you want guys who can play the ball and are aggressive. That's what you want. And so I just, he's really, really good. All right, let's give out another game ball here, right? It's Joe Rudolph. Unbelievable performance from his line, from the young players. You have to give them credit. Notre Dame runs for 198 yards in the game, 2 touchdowns, 5.8 yards per carry. And look at, is it on the back of explosives? Yeah, it is. That's what you want. That is what you need. Explosive change everything. The Jadarian Price touchdown run changed the game. It gets you out in the lead. They have to play from behind, and you are then in control of the game. That is everything. The Jeremiah Love run around the end changes everything. He gets around the corner. He almost scores a touchdown. Man, Jeremiah Love, I'm tell you right now, like Notre Dame has 2 running backs. This is a very concerning thing for opponents. Both of these guys can hit the home run at any point, right? You get the Jeremiah Love run right before the touchdown. You get a 1-yard run, and then you get the 21-yarder. And here's the thing about Jeremiah Love that makes him such a good weapon for Notre Dame and a good running back, just period. You saw all of it. You saw him able to bounce. You saw him able to bounce it outside and use his speed on the run, the long run before the touchdown run. You see him working inside the tackles. Then he's able to bounce it. So he picks the hole, good feet. He's able to bounce it outside. Then he runs with power. And then on the 21-yard touchdown run to win the game, he's running into a 9-man box, slithers through just a tiny hole. He makes himself skinny, gets through the hole, has the burst to outrun the defender and into the end zone. Okay. Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love, 22 attempts in this game, 16 missed tackles forced. 16 missed tackles forced. When you have guys who can run with power, who can run with elusiveness, and can run with speed, that is what you're looking for. That is the whole package there. It would be great, I guess, if they would be a better in pass blocking, because that's why I think we see Devin Ford in the game, right? And look, Dylan McCullough loves for players to have those kind of roles, right? He wants someone to have a role there. And credit to Devin Ford for stepping up and doing that, right? He wouldn't be in the role if Jabron Payne hadn't gotten hurt. He was going to play another position. He went out there and he did it. So credit to those guys, credit to the backs. The offensive line was for what the ask was. The ask was to give the skill a chance. That was the ask. And I thought the main part of the problems for Notre Dame in this game weren't the offensive line. Granted, there was a struggle sometimes. There were some blown assignments. There were some missed blocks. Look, that's a good D line they're going against now. Okay, you got to understand that. Okay, but I thought the main reason why Notre Dame was struggling in this game is because Riley Leonard and the wideouts weren't in sync. And I'm going to get into this through the week. I got to pull up video. I just thought that the Riley Leonard's throwing the ball in places where he thinks the wide receivers should be, and the wide receivers are in a different spot. A lot of the misses today in the game yesterday, I don't think they were poor throws from an accuracy standpoint. I think he's throwing it where he wants to throw it. The wide receivers and him weren't in sync, right? I don't want to say fault because I have no idea. But he's throwing it. Well, I understand exactly why he's throwing the ball where he's throwing the ball. On those slot fades, on the outcut to Jordan Faison, right? Where he's just completely missing them. He short-armed the one to Devin Ford, he's got to get the ball to him. He just has to. He's going to run for days. I don't know if he'll score, but he's going to run for days. But I just feel like he's got to get in sync with his wideouts in this game or in future games because that was what was holding Notre Dame back in that one. And I think that's a credit to the line because to me, it wasn't so much that the line is preventing them from moving the ball. It was other things. And look, they absolutely had to work around the line for sure. I mean, you're getting the ball out super quick. Your average depth of target is super, is not very far. Let me check it. Let me see if I can find it up here. 5.5 yards. Average depth of target, 5.5 yards on the field. Like that is, you ask, how are they going to protect the line? Like that's how you do it. You get the ball out short. And there's a lack of play action passing. And I think what it was, Notre Dame had 3 play action passes all game. I believe it was. Let me just check. Yes, they were 1 of 3 on play action passes for -2. That was obviously a screen of some kind. you're not play action passing in this game, because the thing about running play action is it takes a little bit longer, right? You're carrying out a fake, right? Your eyes are downfield, but you're not available to throw it quickly because you're running your play action stuff. You also want to get under center for that. Notre Dame's not getting under center. And so they don't want to waste time having to ask the offensive line to hold for an extra second or second and a half when you're running your play action stuff. They want to get the ball out, right? That's why they ran so many screens, 7 screens in this game that Notre Dame ran, which is a pretty big number. 7 of the 30 attempts of the pass attempts, 33 dropbacks. So, you're running screen 21% of the time. That's like I said, that's a big number there. They want to get the ball out quickly. They don't like the furthest route they threw was that they threw the slot fade to Jaden Greathouse there, and then they threw a back shoulder throw to Bo Collins. Like that's how you protect the line. You protect the line by getting the ball out. But look, if you're gonna have 5.8 yards per carry in this game, running for just under 200, that is a winning stat line. I don't want to say 100% of the time, but like that's what you need. If you know ahead of time Notre Dame's going to run for 198 and 5.8 yards per carry, you assume they're going to win the game. And so there's a lot to build off of for this team. I thought this was a really good performance from the offensive line. I think Joe Rudolph, making the call to go with Anthony Knapp, making the call to go with Sam Pendleton. He went with the players he thought were going to give them the best chance to win. And I think he was proven correct. They absolutely performed for him. And it's to his credit. It's to Mike Denbrock's credit that he was able to concoct a scheme that they were going to be successful at. And so to the victors go the spoils on that one. So good job by Joe Rudolph. Let's get to some more comments in the chat. Robert Hallecky. Well, hold on. Shout out to the long snapper. He was on point all game. Yeah, good job to the long snapper. You know what? And Mitch Jeter, I got to give him a game ball. I didn't put it in. I'm putting it up here. Game ball, Mitch Jeter, stunting all over my head. Look at in the preview show, I said the vibes weren't very good. Jamie said, "Why do you think that? I don't know why you think that." I just said, I don't know, like the reports out of camp. It's not that they were bad, but they were just kind of like, I don't know. And then you saw him in the spring game. It didn't look good. Look, 3 for 3 in the game. He was clutch. He hit the field goals he needed to hit. No concerns there. And I thought Rendell, look, it wasn't amazing. But look, it was effective, right? He was effective in the game. You're getting a role, and you gotta go out for that. People are talking about it takes time to build a team. They also didn't use motion. Yeah. So Ryan's talking about they also didn't use motion like I think they will later. Yeah, I think there's an aspect of the crowd noise for that. You don't want a bunch of moving parts when you aren't sure when the ball is going to get snapped. You want to avoid a fire drill in the back there. Big penalty game for Notre Dame. 11 penalties, 99 yards. That's got to get cleaned up. The jumping off sides thing is not what you want. There were so many penalties where it's just like they have to call it, right? So they don't have to call some of the holds. They don't have to do that. But then look, they didn't call a penalty on Bo Collins. So you gotta live with those things. Will Falk says Notre Dame seemed like it was clearly the better conditioned team. Is that a product of depth and rotation or Landau's program? I mean, probably both, right? Like, look, Notre Dame's moving guys in and out, right? Like they are going to do that, especially on defense. Only one player on defense went the distance, and that was Xavier Watts, reigning defensive player of the year. Xavier Watts, who had an interception in this game. Listen, he just completely solid. You put him in man coverage against the tight end. You can't get anything over on him. You just cannot. I mean, Xavier Watts is an elite college football player. Elite. I don't know what his pro prospects are. I mean, if they were like super great, he'd be in the pros right now. He is an elite college football player. You put him in coverage against the tight end, jumps the route, the quarterback throws it, he baits him, and then he falls to the ground and makes the interception. Elite college football player, hands down, first team All-American. I don't look, Malachi Starks, listen. Malachi Starks made an incredible interception yesterday. Let's just, we got to tip the cap to that. That's an incredible interception. But Xavier Watts is absolutely, as a college football player, as elite as it's going to get. Evan says Adon Schuler looks nothing like a freshman. He's not a freshman for one. He's a sophomore. He's a redshirt freshman. But last year, I mean, look, he is built, right? He is Adon Schuler is a first off the bus guy. You send him off the bus, and it's like, man, I'm gonna get thumped by this guy all game. I don't want to see that. And he's a scary looking dude in terms of, I shouldn't say scary, intimidating looking guy, right? He is very intimidating. You don't want to get hit by him. Michael Campbell from Dallas, Ohio State couldn't run like that on Akron. Yeah, I thought, I watched a little bit of the Ohio State game. I thought, Akron's quarterback got hurt, and that kind of affected them. I don't know. Ohio State didn't look that good. I don't want to say it's like concerning or anything, just as a matter of fact. I didn't think they looked as good as they could have there. They're going to want to clean some stuff up. But there's a big game next week, I believe. Ohio State's playing. Who are they playing? There's a big game in the Big Ten next week. Is it Ohio State and Oregon, or who is that? Michigan looked bad. Look, they're a cheating program, and they should be embarrassed and ashamed. So that's what that situation is. Robert Hallecky's got to head to flag football. Good luck in flag football. My nephew Evan was in the chat yesterday after the game. He won his flag football game, had an interception in that game. Texas, Michigan. There it is. Texas, Michigan. We're going to want to watch that one. That's going to be a big time one. That's going to be a big time game. So we'll watch that. G Banks, 5 USN. Who wins tonight? USC or LSU? I mean, I'm gonna say LSU wins the game. I don't buy this. USC is talking a lot about how much weight they've gained, which is kind of fluff to me. Like, why are you talking about that? They just keep talking about it. But it's kind of like, I think Notre Dame wants USC to win, just because they need, like Florida State, they've lost the game. Obviously, A&M's already dropped a game. Notre Dame plays Louisville. Hopefully, Louisville keeps winning. Like, you do need to. You need to bank up some. You need to get some good teams on the schedule. So it's just kind of like, you kind of want USC to win, but at the same time, I don't like rooting. I don't like rooting for USC. I just don't. So I don't know, but that's like BK as well. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna go in on LSU. I think it's just, as we've seen, the SEC is just a different animal. But we'll see. No Name asks, is Faison hurt? He is hurt. It looked like an ankle, but to be honest, like the way he walked off the field and the way that he walked, I mean, he walked to the locker room and things like that. I didn't see the mechanism of the injury, whether it's going to be a high ankle situation or whether it's going to be, if it's the low ankle, right? If it's high ankle, it could be a little bit. I mean, it could be until like Louisville or something. If it's just a regular standard ankle sprain, then maybe a week, right? I wouldn't expect him in the next game. My kind of rule of thumb is, if a player gets hurt in a situation and they leave the game and they can't return, I just feel like that's always going to cost you at least a game. You're always missing the next game. If you're good enough to continue playing, then you kind of have a chance to play the next week. But if you're leaving the game and not coming back as early as it was too, I just think he's probably going to miss a game. But it doesn't seem like long-term. Chief Brody says, I would root for the Soviet Union if they played Michigan. Okay. That's tough. But hey, you know what though? Like, I get it from a sports standpoint. I can't get mad at that, honestly. I mean, look, both sides cheated. So they're both cheating cheaters. So that's something. One sneak, just subscribe to the channel. Go Irish. You know what? Let's all do that right now. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're trying to get to 10K subscribers. We want to get to 10K by the bye week, right? Look, is it a big ask? It is, right? That's about 180. It's about 180 subscribers there. It is a lot more than 180 subscribers. we're that is bad math by me. We're at about 8.2K. So we got to get 1.8 K subscribers by the bye week. I think we can do it. Let's hit the subscribe. Let's hit the like. Let's hit the notification bell. So whatever it is, we are going live. Wolf Falk says the whole secondary looked really good, I thought. Watt, Schuler, Gray, Morrison, of course. Rod Hurd's tackling the backfield. Rod Hurd came in and made a play. Played 35 snaps. Notre Dame clearly trusts him. 35 snaps is a lot of snaps in a game of this magnitude. You know what? While we're doing that, let's have another game ball. Al Golden. The man has his defense dialed in. I can recall one instance when they looked disorganized. And this was, I think, early in the game. It was a third down, and they actually ended up getting into the correct coverage, and everyone was in sync when the ball was snapped. But before the snap, they got set up late. I don't think it actually ended up costing them anything. Connor Wegman ended up scrambling for the first down. Other than that, I think that was the only time they were scrambling before a snap in this game. The thing is when you're playing as many players as they're playing, I mean, Leonard Moore got snaps in this game. Like Jaden Mickey got snaps. Rod Hurd got a bunch of snaps. Adon Schuler, Ben Morrison, Christian Gray, all the linebackers that they're playing. You're moving in so many pieces, and they are all completely in sync, and they are all just on the same page. Everyone knows exactly what to do. Everyone is playing fast. That is such a key, product of coaching, right? Like it's just such an indicator. It is an indicator of coaching. These guys know what they're supposed to do. Al Golden is fearless to call whatever he wants if he thinks it's the right thing because he knows his players are going to execute it. This is what it looks like, right? There was so much talk about A&M's defense, and I felt like Notre Dame's defense was getting short shift, like they or shrift or whatever the saying is. Like people were just discounting them. Like everyone was talking about was Notre Dame's O-line against their D-line, and no one was talking about Notre Dame's defense. And everyone just kind of assumed that Connor Wegman was going to have a good game, and we couldn't understand why. Jamie and I could not understand why people are just assuming that they are going to do things, right? 13 points on the game. They had one real touchdown drive. And that's pretty much it. Like I predicted 27-10. They got to 13, right? They kicked one more field goal than I thought they would. But it's just Notre Dame locked them down. And let me see how many total yards they allowed. And yards per play. Let me see. Defense, game log. 246 yards allowed on 68 plays, 3.6 yards per play. It's just, I mean, that's it's kind of standard. Like that's just what you would have kind of expected in this game. And look, Al Golden, he is just locked in. He is completely locked in. He was as good a reacquisition as Notre Dame had in the offseason. Mike Denbrock was huge, but keeping Al Golden on staff, it was just enormous for Notre Dame. Just completely. Maybe they could have kept the ball rolling. Maybe they could have kept the ball rolling with someone like Mike Mickens or whatever the case may be. But look, Al Golden is obviously a hot commodity. No Name asks, is Al Golden off to the NFL or another head coaching job at the end of the year? To be honest, I don't know. I think he really likes it at Notre Dame. I think he really likes the situation. He must like his play. I mean, he could have left last year for something if he wanted to leave. Um, I feel like there are head coaching jobs where it's like he's just going to take them, whatever it might be. Um, I don't know what he I don't have, sources into Al Golden or what he might be looking for, but it's just there has to be a job that he would take, but it won't be just anything. I mean, it won't be like I'm going to be a linebacker coach in the NFL. It won't be that. CFB Hurt says Florida may come calling in a week or two. Maybe. I mean that Napier, but like if you're Al Golden, do you really want that? Like, do you want that smoke? Like, do you want what entails what Florida entails right now? Maybe he does, right? I don't know, but it seems like he's very happy at Notre Dame. But look, we'll have to monitor that. He's gonna look. He's gonna be out there. He's gonna be. His name is going to be out there. I mean, if this continues, and there's no reason to think it won't, especially with the way they're playing. Paul Kinlan asks about Nick Scorton. How would you rate Scorton's performance? I thought he was fine, right? He did some good stuff. He was disruptive, and the fact that Notre Dame had to, they changed the game plan, not just for him, but their whole D line. But they altered the game plan because of him, right? And so just that in and of itself is an impactful thing. But he didn't destroy the game. We said it last night, Jamie and I. He didn't wreck the game, right? Let me see. I mean, let's just check the PFF stuff. Let's see what PFF thought of Nick Scorton. I'm gonna do grades. I'm gonna throw out the grade. He was our highest graded player at 74.8, though. So that's not like an incredible grade, right? Like Notre Dame's highest rated player, I believe, was higher than that. Let me check. Yeah. So look, Notre Dame had 3 defenders who were graded higher: Osbury, Watts, and Morrison. So Watts and Morrison, Jack Kaiser was around where Nick Scorton was. I mean, Jordan Botelho was around where Nick Scorton was. And look, I would just kind of dismiss Osbury just because he didn't play as many snaps. But like you had 3 Notre Dame defenders who were kind of where Scorton was graded. So look, he didn't have a bad game, but he wasn't dominated, but he didn't also dominate the game. He didn't wreck the game. And I think that's good enough for Notre Dame. I think that's what you're looking for. That's kind of fight him to a draw, basically, was the ask. And that's what you want. Greg Wasserman says A&M didn't have any sacks. That's true, but 33% pressure rate, that's getting it done on the D line. They didn't have to. They sent some pressures. They didn't get a ton of pressures. And Riley Leonard scrambling out of there, right? Like he felt pressured, and like I said, Notre Dame had to alter the game plan in order to kind of deal with them. So I don't want to say they were lemons. They absolutely weren't. But the threat of them, that 33% pressure rate is that's a good rate there. But like the sacks matters, right? Just from in terms of look, the ball's getting out, you're not losing yards. Like saving those negative yards is important. I'm not saying it's nothing. But I don't want to act like they were bad because they weren't. I don't want that to be the takeaway. Sergio, huge stat here. A&M with 0 explosive plays, none over 20 plus yards. Look, if you listen to our show at any point in the last 5-6 months, I've been harping on this. Notre Dame can hit explosives, and it's hard for the opponent to hit explosives on them. Notre Dame is very good at limiting explosives, and that is such a key in football. Easy scores matter so much. It is the difference between having 23 points and having 13 points. It just is. It is the difference between winning and losing in this one. When you make the other team drive the length of the field, it is so difficult to do, especially against a defense as experienced as this one and as that it's locked in as this one. It's just very, very hard. And so having the ability to hit explosives, they hit explosives with Price, they hit explosives with Love. They hit an explosive with Bo Collins. I don't know how long that pass was, but it's just when you can hit those. I mean, because a 20 plus gain is an explosive, right? The 47-yard, I mean, that's like two explosives there, right? Right. And it's the ultimate one where you score a touchdown on it. It matters. It matters. It matters a ton. Hitting explosives is very important. Having a media company that you can count on is important. And that's why you want to go with VSR Media, which is founded by Notre Dame football pregame host and Emmy award-winning anchor Vahid Sadrazadeh. VSR Media provides professional and cinematic video and photo. Whether you're looking for a collegiate or pro-level highlight reel, have a personal story to tell, or are aiming to diversify and grow your business, VSR Media specializes in short and long form video storytelling, social media management, and website design. VSR Media also captures professional headshots, senior and sports photos. Contact them at vsrmediacompany.com. Mention Irish Sports Daily to receive 20% off your first project. Visit them online or give them a call at 574-800-9106. Vamos Irish. This is good. Notre Dame defense is the bomb squad, going out there and eliminating all explosives. We're going to tip the cap to Vamos Irish, to Oscar on that. That is good stuff. The bomb squad eliminating all explosives. I think this is going to be our last game ball. Jadarian Price, Jeremiah Love, just studs in this game. Absolute studs. Like I said before, 16 missed tackles forced on 22 carries. They were the ones hitting the explosives for Notre Dame. Like they were the difference in the game in terms of just they hit the plays when they needed to be hit. They hit the types of plays. Notre Dame had Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love. A&M didn't. And that was the deciding factor there. There are so many things that went into this game, the defense and the offensive line and everything. But, Jadarian Price gets the ball. There's a gap there. He got open space, made the player miss in the hole, and then he's off to the races. Okay. That is just difference maker, right? Jeremiah Love hitting the corner and getting around a corner and almost going like 60 yards for a touchdown. The guy had an angle on him. And by the way, Bryce Anderson, that kid, like he's like a 10-4 guy, right? So he can run. He's got some wheels on him. He had the big run before the touchdown run. Like that's, again, showed all the skills. And these guys, they made the difference in the game. They were just complete clutch factors for what Notre Dame needed to do. They had to play this way. Jeremiah Love especially. They just had to do it. And Notre Dame had to get it. They had to deal with they had to deal with less than ideal conditions in terms of having to run to run, right? The blocking wasn't going to be perfect. Jeremiah Love, 57 yards after contact. Jadarian Price, 51 yards after contact. So he, on the run, he breaks the tackle, right? He makes the tackle. He makes a miss, and he goes 47 yards for the touchdown. Like that is your running backs coming through for you and making it happen, and picking up your offense, right? And so you got to give those guys a ton of credit. It was big time. E. Olson says, did I see a quote from Price saying A&M didn't offer him? Nice little revenge. Yeah, I mean, he did say he had a chip on his shoulder because A&M didn't offer him, and I think he always wanted Notre Dame, right? It was key for him. He was going to come, but look, it's nice, right? Like he had to have had a ton of family. He's from Texas, so he had to have a ton of family at the game, right? And so they were able to see him ball out, which is tremendous. Let's see. There was a quote. No name. Do you think Deuce Knight liked what he saw? I don't think Deuce Knight saw it at all. you know, I I was saying to somebody before the game yesterday, man, like it would be such a gut punch if Notre Dame was to lose this game, and then like right after Deuce Knight drops the Hayes Fawcett edit saying he's going to go to Auburn. But now I think people kind of feel like, all right, go. It is what it is. I mean, he's been decommitted for like a month now. Like he's it's been the writing. Not even the writing hasn't even been on the wall. I mean, like crystal balls are coming in or whatever predictions are coming in. Look at he's out. He's not in the class anymore. He hasn't made the announcement official, but he's clearly not in the class, right? He is not a committed prospect for Notre Dame, whether it's official or not. I mean, and this isn't even inside anything. It's just logic, right? Going around wearing Auburn towels, right? Like at your first game. It is what it is. Look, I don't want to get into recruiting too much on that stuff because, we're in the season now. And Notre Dame's got a good quarterback room. They got a good quarterback, Ryan Leonard. Got CJ Carr waiting in the wings. And we got Noah Grubbs in 26. So let's see. Sergio says Knapp and Pendleton with good blocks on Love's touchdown. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, look, you have 7 blockers, you run into 9, and he's essentially untouched going. I mean, maybe someone got a hand on him, but he's essentially uptouched going up the middle. I mean, everyone's blocking well on that. I mean, that's the way to go. I mean, you're at the. That's funny. Like my my daughter, we played flag football in the spring. Last spring. So she's into football a little bit more now. And therefore, our family, like our extended family, is kind of watching football a little bit more because of that. And, people watching, it's like, why do teams run up the middle? Like, why don't they go outside? No one's out there. It's a pretty standard question when you start following the game. And it's like, look, when you block it right, it's easier to just go straight, just go straight ahead. Don't run outside. And that's a good example. The touchdown at the end, like that's a good example of that, where just if you block it right, man, there's yards to be had right at the gut. So that's good stuff. That is very good stuff. Will Falk asking about the young linebackers. Look good. Yes. I mean, there was one play. Drake Bowen might have had one bad run fit in the game from him. It was what got them first and goal from inside the 5. I think it was probably like a 10, 13 yard run or whatever it might be. He might have had a bad run fit there. I don't know. I'd have to go look. I'd have to talk to Jamie about it because he's more into the run fits, but I feel like that gap has to be taken by someone, and no one was there. So I'd have to go back and look at it. But beyond that, there was another play where Drake Bowen, they ran the ball up the middle on him, and he thumped this running back. Just absolutely destroyed him. Still, look, there's the mistake, but then there's also just being a baller playmaker. So that's there's a lot to like there. Drake Bowen with 4 tackles on the game. Very evenly distributed tackles for Notre Dame in this one. Jack Kaiser with 8, Botelho with 6, Sneed with 5, Donovan Heinisch with 5 tackles in reserve duty. Never bet against the Heinisch. Like, just don't do it. It's not going to work. Notre Dame offers a Heinisch, you take him and you don't ask questions. Howard Cross with 4, Osbury with 4. Osbury with 4 tackles and 17 snaps. That's getting it done. So yeah, I mean, look at all of the top tacklers. You got linebacker, D-line, linebacker, D-line, linebacker, D-line. You don't get to a secondary player until 8 and 9. Schuler and Watts both had 3 tackles, right? That's what you want. You want your frontline guys. You want your front 7 making the plays. And that's what Notre Dame was able to do. And that's what you want from your defense. Theodore wants to give Christian Gray a game ball. You know what? From Theodore, Christian Gray, game ball for you. Great job. I kind of lumped him in with the entire defense situation from Al Golden. But you know what, Theodore? We'll give Christian Gray a game ball from you. That's good stuff. Vamos Iris says Gray will go and take it on his own. He'll take his own game ball. We don't. Christian Gray is not given game balls. He takes game balls. That's good stuff from Oscar. You're doing a great job. You're in midseason form, Oscar, on this morning after recap show. We appreciate that greatly. Kenny Moore says Notre Dame's only going to get better week by week. Yeah, I would say Jamie and I talked about it on the recap show last night. And if you haven't, go check that out as well. You want to get Jamie's thoughts on this game if you haven't listened to the instant reaction show. He obviously has a ton of good insight. I mean, Jamie knows a ton about football. So you're going to want to listen to that, just kind of rehash what he thought about it. But we were making the point, like this improvement from the offensive line specifically, this improvement it's going to be up and down, right? Like I wouldn't be shocked if Notre Dame struggle bust next week. It's just that you're coming down off the high of the opening game. You know, look, they're still young, right? They're still young. Anthony Knapp is still a freshman. Sam Pendleton is still a redshirt freshman, right? Emil Wagner will be in his second start. Like, it's going to be up and down for that group, but I think it's going to be up. And look, there's obviously going to be improvement. That's the way it works. And you just have to feel good about, you know, how Joe Rudolph, again, was able to get them to play in a key moment. They had to have it. They were essential to Notre Dame winning. Again, running for 200 yards against this defense is just it was clutch. I mean, it was just clutch. They needed it, and that was what they needed to do to win, and they did it. No Name says, is this team on Georgia's level? I mean, to be honest, probably not. I mean, look at Georgia is, I mean, in the how many years of Kirby Smart? 17. He was the coach, right? I think that maybe his first year, 17. This is his 7th season, 8th season. They're in the 8th season of this, and Marcus Freeman's in his 3rd. So no, they're not on Georgia's level. But to be honest, like if that's where it is, then that's okay, right? It's not to say they could never beat Georgia, but just on a game-to-game basis, you know, like look, Notre Dame would not go, like people think Georgia's going to go undefeated. Like, no, I don't think Notre Dame would go undefeated with Georgia's schedule. They just wouldn't, right? But again, his first year was 16, so this is his 8th season, right, or 9th season. I mean, he's been there for a long time. This is a program well established for Georgia. But look, man, you go into the SEC with that crowd and that environment, with the youth that team had on offense, Notre Dame had on offense, and you go win the game. It's big time. Big time for Notre Dame. So a lot to look forward to, right? Next week is going to be fun, right? And the good news about Notre Dame winning this game is the vibes around Notre Dame Stadium next weekend, around campus, around the team. They're going to be at a very, very high clip. There's going to be great vibes for Notre Dame moving forward, which is part of the good thing about an opening game like this. Like it's difficult to win an opener like this, but when you do, the vibes skyrocket, and that's what Notre Dame's got to ride the vibes, ride the opening win, ride the improvement wave that's going to come for the offense. I think there's a lot that can be improved from a skill position standpoint. Obviously on the offensive line, Riley Leonard can settle into the offense. Mike Denbrock can settle into his team and everything like that. So that's going to be very, very fun to watch. And we are going to be here covering it for you at Irish Sports Daily. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell soon, whatever it is. We are going live. I'm going to end it there. Jamie and I will be back on Tuesday talking about this game, or talking about a little bit about this game. Going forward, we're going to get some news. There's going to be a Marcus Freeman press conference. We'll find out on injuries or anything like that. So you're going to want to stay locked in to irishsportsdaily.com. Sign up over there, right? Matt Freeman giving you a ton of information on the team. Jamie's articles are must reads. And so stay locked in with us. All right. That'll do it for today. Thank you everyone for being here. We'll be back. Have a great Sunday. Have a great Monday. Happy Labor Day to everyone. We'll talk to you soon. Keep hitting and hustling.